Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Let's find out what I was teaching. Find out where God is teaching. Find out where God is teaching. Let's come on in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Let's find out what I was teaching. Find out what I was teaching. Find out what I was teaching. Let's come on in the room. Come on in the room. Come on in the room. Let's find out what I was teaching. Find out what I was teaching. Find out what I was teaching. Let's come on in the room. Let's come on in the room. Are y'all excited about learning what the Most High Yah is teaching? I am so excited about the opening up of books of the law, and be able to read and understand them. Are you excited about the law? I am. The law makes me happy, knowing that there's law, that there's structure. I love it. I love it. So today, this is part 3 for YouTube and trying to get this over here. For YouTube and for Facebook, but for TikTok, this is part 2. So this is part 2 for TikTok, and then this is part 3 for YouTube and Facebook. I am thankful to the Creator, Yah. Thankful that it is time for the truth to be seen, to be let out, for everything to be known, what is actually going on. This is that time of reckoning. The Most High Yah closed up the books in Daniel. He closed up the books, and people went to and fro, trying to find the truth of what's going on. And now that we're in the last days, in the last minutes, now that we're in the time of the tribulations of the world, it's the time of the tribulations of the nations. This is the exact time we're in. We're in the tribulations. It started this year. Tribulations started. That's why y'all see so much chaos going on and everything. And now the truth is being revealed. Who is who is what is what. So let me make sure my sound is on, and then I'm going to play a video. Make sure my sound is on. Make sure my sound is on. Woo! Okay. So let's thank Abba. Thank you, yeah. Yeah, let's on that one. Okay. There we go. Thank you, yeah. Thank Abba in everything you do. Thank you, yeah. Thank you, yeah. I just wanna thank you, yeah. You've been so good. You've been so good. You've been so good. And I just want to thank you, yeah. You saved our souls. Hallelujah. You saved you saved our souls. Come on, y'all. Y'all saved. He saved our souls. And I just want to thank you, Yah. And I just want to thank you, Yah. Let's give all praise and all glories to the only living God, the Creator, Yah, the first, the last, the beginning, the end. He is the only true God who has never died, who has never been dethroned. He is the first, the last, the beginning, the end, and He is the middle. He is the Aleph, He is the Meme, and He is the Tav. He is our Creator, the Creator of the heavens, Creator of the earth. We spoke about the Most High Yah yesterday, that the other nations knew it was hidden from the Israelites, because that was our time of punishment, our time of reckoning. And it was hid from us, and the Most High Yah said in Deuteronomy, during this time of punishment, you will not know who you are. That's Deuteronomy 28. And you're going to worship gods of wood and stone. And now we're coming out of the worship of gods of wood and stone, the gods of the nations. And we learned also that El Elyon is the God of Canaan. El Elyon is the God of Canaan. And El Elyon is the father of Jesus Christos. And we also learned that El Elyon, Jesus Christos, came from a different land, a land called Nazareth. Came from a land called Nazareth. And Jesus Christos tells you himself that he came from a land called Nazareth. And if you read in Jeremiah 4:16, the Most High Yah tells the tribe of Judah, that's the northern kingdom, that's Judah and Benjamin and some of the Levites. He tells them, I am sending in the watchers from Nazareth. It's in my book, it's not in yours. It's in my book, it's not in yours. You know what? Let me check this book and see if there's, because this is the book of death. We found this out. This is the book of death, the Holy Bible, the King James and the Catholic Bible, all that. And we found out this. The Art Scroll is the book of life. And the Most High God tells you in Deuteronomy 30, I'm gonna lay before you life. I'm gonna lay before you death. And then he tells you in Ezekiel 20, I am the one who provided you with the laws that will give you life, and I am the one who provided you with the laws that will give you death, that will get you destroyed. It is Creator Yah. He did these things all. He did all. The Most High Yah tells you, I in Isaiah, I am the one who created good. I am the one who created evil. The Most High Yah sends everything. He does it all. And then you're like, well, how could you worship a God who does that? He also tells you he's the God that believes in an eye for an eye. So when you do something wicked, he's going to send in the bad zone that he created. He sent in, the Most High Yah has angels of punishment. Satan, and stop disrespecting Satan. Satan works for the Most High Yah. And Satan and Lucifer are not the same. They're not the same. Lucifer is one of the 200 watchers who fell. Satan did not fall from grace for the Most High Yah. You can find that in Kings. That Satan didn't fall from the grace. Satan has always fulfilled what he was supposed to do. Satan is the one that the Most High Yah sends to test you. The Most High Yah said, I test to see what's in your heart. Now, 2 weeks ago, um, 2 weeks, well, a little less than 2 weeks ago, I went to Denver on Sunday. And before I had been praying to Abba, I couldn't understand why he chose me to teach. I couldn't understand why he chose me to teach. Excuse me. I couldn't understand why he chose me to teach because I felt like he could have found somebody better to do the job, especially with my past and especially with my health the way it is. I was kind of like Moses going, you know what? You could have found somebody else who can speak eloquently. Then y'all got a short temper and all this thing. And then my past isn't squeaky clean and all this kind of stuff. So I'm sitting there going, you could have found somebody else better to teach this. And I was like, why did you choose me? So not this Sunday, but the Sunday before, I went to Denver, and on my way back from Denver back to where I live like an hour and a half away from Denver. Abba showed me why he chose me. It's what's in your heart, what's in a man's heart, what's in a man's heart, what's in a man's heart. So on the way back, it was night. Now, usually don't drive at night. And everybody knows I have a bad back. And usually I don't travel long distances. I usually take Z-Trip if I got to go a long distance. For me, going to Denver is a long distance to drive by myself. But I thought I would be okay. I thought it would be fine. Well, on my way back, I kept stopping and taking breaks. And you're like, well, it's just an hour and a half. It should be y'all. My back is broke. When I say my back is broken, my back is broken. Not in one place, in multiple places. And where it is not broke, it's fractured. And where it is not fractured, the disc will move. So I have a lot of back pain. All the time they said this will be permanent. They tweak it. They've been tweaking me since 2016, but they said they don't have the technology. They do not have the technology to bring me back to where I was. They don't have the technology, and the technology that they do have did help me. But the doctor told me if I had the accident that I had in the 90s, I would be bedridden. So it took them some years to get me out of the bed and get me off of a walker and get me off of a cane because I got hit by a car. So it took them some years. So I have pain and I have this, but I decided I was going to go to Denver and visit and then come back because I have somebody in Denver that is very dear to my heart. So I'll go to Denver, and I wanted to go to Denver to see them because usually people come see me, but I wanted to get out of the house and then I wanted to go see them. So on my way back, it's gotten dark, and let's get back to the story now. But it's gotten dark because I'm having to stop so many times and all this kind of stuff, and it shouldn't have taken me that long to get home, but because of my back problems, it did. So by the time it's gotten dark, and I'm like scared, y'all, because what happened is on the highway, I'm driving like 70 on the way, and I got my pit. I always take him with me, my pit, and I'm in the middle lane, so I wouldn't be disturbing to the people. There's 3 lanes. The hey, Kings and Queen, peace and barukas to your family. And I wouldn't be disturbing to the people to the right of me, so I could just stay at a steady pace, and I couldn't be disturbing at the people to the left of me. Okay. All of a sudden, and I know this was Abba testing me. This is Abba showing me the test of why he chose me to teach. So all of a sudden, a big massive truck got to the left of me, and I'm not talking about the diesel trucks. I'm talking about these were people with pumped up trucks. One to the left, one to the right, and one behind me. And y'all, they were so close to me that I could look to the left and see the person here clear as day. And I got tinted windows, and I could see them clear as day. The guy over here, I could see him clear as day. Why? Because the guy behind me was so close, I could see his bumper, the thing on his bumper on his truck. And I could see him clear as day, and he had the lights on bright. And so it lit up my car. And it lit it up so much that I could see these people clear over here. I could see these people clear this, and we were going along about 10 minutes. They were, when I say they were on me, I'm saying my car, and the guy had, if I had just made a wrong move, this is how close he was. And I have an SUV, and I could see it, but he had a lifted vehicle. That's why I could see the hood and I could see him. So I began to pray to Yah. This is the first thing that came to my mind is this. Yah, please do not let anything happen to me right now, because I want to be here. I don't want to die right now, because I want to see you. This is my literal prayer. I start praying to Abba. And my dog got scared too, y'all. My dog was going from window to window looking. He was like, what the hell? But I started praying, and I just sat there. I kept my foot on the pedal and on both pedals, because I have a standard shift. And so, you got 3 pedals. So I kept my foot on the clutch. I have kept my foot on the gas. I held down that 10 to 2. I looked at the mirror, and I began to pray in the Most High Yah. And I said, Yah, please, I don't want to die. I don't want anything to happen to me, because I want to be here when you show up on Mount Zion. I want to be here to see you. So I said, you please help me. So I'm sitting there driving. Y'all, 10 minutes is a long time when you actually think of how long 10 minutes is. It was a long time for me to sit there like that. And I stayed steady. And I counted on Abba to keep me from making a mistake. I counted on Abba for keeping me from hitting a bump. Because I'm telling you, if I had to just barely press the gas, let up off the gas, or if I barely pressed the brake, there would have been a 4-car accident. And I did not want that, because I didn't want to die. That's the first thing that came to my mind. That was in my heart. I just didn't want that to happen. And so once I got away from the next exit, I got off the highway. And I sat there and I was like, "Ooh, thank you, Abba, Ooh, and then in my mind I was thinking, I get to be here. I get to be here to see you. Oh, thank you. I get to be here to see you come down on Mount Zion. Because I want to be with Abba. I want to walk with him in the cool of the day, like Adam and Eve. I want that so bad, and I want to be there and to cheer it, like Isaiah 52 says. We're going to cheer the Most High God. We're going to be singing, and when we see him show back up to earth, we're going to be singing. I want that. I am like, ooh, that is my goal. That is my end goal. And so I finally made it home, and then it hit me. Boom. He says, now do you see why I chose you? And I was like, what? He said, what is in a man's heart? That's why I chose you. You didn't pray for nothing other than to be with me. He said, you could have, he says, most people, the first thing that came to their mind is to step on the brake and have an accident so they can get money. It never even dawned on me. He said, remember, I test. This is why I chose you to teach, because I see what's in your heart. Because most people would have thought about all the money they could get, because these people are riding on their asses. Because in America, if somebody's riding on your ass and you step on the brake and they hit you, They're responsible for all your bills. They got to pay for this and they got to. You didn't care. But he said, you didn't care about money. You cared about getting to me. And I was like, oh. He said, in that state of fear, the only thing you pray for is to stay alive so you can see me. You didn't pray for money. He said, this is why I chose you. And I was like, whoa. See, the Most High Yah test. So he showed me what my heart was all about. I didn't even know that's what my heart is all about. He knows us better than we know ourselves. Because in that moment of fear, I prayed to be with Abba. I thought about Isaiah 52, seeing the Most High Yah come down on Mount Zion, returning to earth. That's all I thought about. I didn't think about all the money I can get and this, blase, and all that. I didn't care about that. See, it's all a test. Everything is. And he sees what's in your heart. He knows you better than you know yourself. He knew me better than I knew myself. He had to show me me. Most people would have slammed on them brakes so quick to get them some money. Because after I held it for like 10 minutes, they finally, I guess, decided, oh, well, we can't scare her. We can't do whatever it is. We can't do whatever they came to do, which I know Abba sent them to test me. I know that was, because nothing happens without the permission of Abba, without the permission of Abba Yah. So he knew that that is my deep desire. Y'all, I want to walk in the cool of the day with the Most High Yah. I want to be with him. That is my deepest desire. I want to serve him and Yah only. I don't want anything else but that. And I love the law. Some people hate the law. I love the law. I love it. I don't see anything wrong with the law. I love being on earth. I don't see anything wrong with being on earth. If you take away the wicked people of earth, earth is awesome. Earth is a paradise. Earth is amazing. If you actually look at it without wicked people on here, wicked people are the one that make earth awful. Because when you are sitting in your peace in your home and enjoying your family, enjoying your kids, eating fruits and vegetables and kicking it and y'all singing songs and all that, aren't you happy? You don't want to be nowhere else but there. But then when somebody come along harassing you and bother you, then you get tired of earth. This is why Solomon prayed. That's why they don't want y'all to know about this book, because this book right here, because Solomon prayed to get all the wicked people off earth. He said, I want them off earth. That's why I pray that. And everybody like, why you want them off earth? Because Solomon said it, and I want them off earth too. Like I'm praying like Uncle Solomon. You find this in the Testament of Solomon. Solomon said, all the wicked people, all of that, I want them off earth, because the earth belongs to us. The earth was created for us to live on it. It was not created for it to be destroyed. It never was. It never was. It was created to be dwelled on, and it was created for us to enjoy it. It is a heaven, aka paradise. And the people who wants to get off of earth, they think this is hell. I have talked to some people, especially when I live in Tennessee. A lot of white people hate earth. They call it hell. If you actually talk to them, they hate it. They want to get off earth. I don't want to get off earth. Why would I get off earth? When we know it was created, it was established to be dwelled on. Isaiah 45. It was created to be dwelt on. But the wicked people came in and tried to destroy it. That's all. That's in Isaiah 14. They destroyed theirs, and then they came on our planet and started destroying ours. That's what's in this book. They are not from here. If y'all truly know what is truly going on, what is truly happening, your eyes open to the truth. That's why it's a spiritual war. It's a war over this planet between two different deities. The deity Abba is the creator of the heavens and the earth. The deity El Elyon, aka Lucifer, same thing that was happening in the heavens. It's a continuation of it. But Abba is using this El Elyon, this deity, to test us, to see what our heart is. What's in your heart? What is truly in your heart? It's just a test. That's it. Are you passing your test? Do you love Abba with all your heart and with all your soul, from the top of your head to the bottom of your feet? If you were in a dire situation where you felt like you was about to lose your life, who would you call on? I know one thing, I didn't call on Jesus. Called on Abba Yah. So what's in your heart? That's what this is all about. Because the Most High Yah says, what's in a man's heart is who he is. What's in his heart is who he is. And then, let me see. I think it's Sirach. Sirach is in this book. Let me see if it reads the same. Sirach says that the law, I believe it's Sirach 24. Yeah, Sirach 24. Let's learn this. Let's pull this over here. Sirach. Oops. So Sirach, let's give you the definition of Sirach. The wisdom of Ben Sarai derives from the title of Arthur, the son of Yesha, son of Eleazar, son of Sarah. You know who that is, Joshua. And this seems to be the earliest title of the book, the destination, Liber Ecclesiasticus, meaning church book, tending. So this book right here, the author, a sage, lived in Jerusalem and was thoroughly imbued with love for the wisdom tradition, also for the law. It's the priesthood and it's a temple and divine worship, written in Hebrew in the early 2nd century BC. The book was finished approximately 175. The book of Sirach, Ecclesiasticus, is the book of Ecclesiasticus, so it goes with the book of Ecclesiastes. Ecclesiastes and Ecclesiasticus is They made it into 2 books, but it's actually 1 book. But Ecclesiastes, some people call it Sirach, is also in the 1966. 1966. It's in the 1966. Let's go see what it says here. I love that Abba allows me to do this teaching. I love it. So 500. Before, see if it says the same thing. Yeah, it's almost the same, but they added some stuff in, so I'm not gonna read from that book. Like I said, this is the book of death. It's the book of death, the Holy Bible, the Christian church, with the cross all on that. That's the book of death, and this is the art scroll, the book of life. But as we know, Sirach was in there, and then they took it out after 1966, you know? So let's read about the law. Wisdom will praise her own soul and will proclaim her glory in the midst of her people. She will open her mouth in the congregations of the Most High and proclaim her glory in the presence of the Most High's power. I came out of the mouth of the Most High Yah. Wisdom came out of the mouth of the Most High Yah and covered the earth as a mist. And I lived in the high places, and my throne is the pillar of the cloud. Alone, I surrounded the circuits of the heavens. This is wisdom. And walked in the depth of the abyss. This is wisdom. The abyss, where's the abyss? Under the earth. There's the abyss, then there's earth, and then there's the heaven that we see above with the firmament. Then above that is another one. There's another level. There's 7 levels. And the Most High Yah sits at the highest level. And on each of those levels is angels. We were a type of angel. We just wasn't the same type of Elohim. We just wasn't the same type of angels as the sons of God. As the sons of God. We were a different type. That's why we could give birth. That's why we could procreate. That's why we can do this. But the sons of God were not supposed to do that. They were the workers of the Most High Yah. If you actually get in and study and see what's actually going on, it is not what they taught us. It is nothing like what we have learned. Just ask the Most High to empty you out of the ways of this world. Empty out of it. Because they done lied, and they done lied, and they done lied. That's why you got to ask him to empty you out of the ways of the world, or you're going to keep arguing with people. You're going to keep debating with people. You're going to keep trying to come up with your own concept instead of the truth. Now, the reason I'm reading this is because some people teach that the law did not come until Moses. They're lying. Here's the proof. The sun, the moon, the stars, they're in their set place. There's a law that says they have to. There's a law that says the trees have to grow up and praise the Most High Yah. There's a law that says the water has to stay where it is, separate from the rest of the earth. The sea and the ocean has to stay separate. That's a law. There's a law that says in order for you to breathe, you got to take in some air. There's a law that says in order for you to sustain life, you got to put food in your mouth to eat. The law, which is wisdom, same thing. Wisdom and the law is the same thing. So Rob tells you the first thing ever created is the law. That's the first thing the Most High Yah created. And if you go over into Isaiah, the Most High Yah says that the law will still be here. When the sun go, if the sun will go away, the moon will go away. All of these things will go away before the law, because it was the first thing created. You can't get away from the law. So these people who are over here trying to do away with the law, they're violating something that keeps them alive. Because if you take away the law, then the air goes away. Now you die. If you take away the law, now the sustenance in the earth goes away. Now you die. If you take away the law, now the sun moves closer and then burns the whole earth. Now you die. If you take away the law, the seed comes in on the earth and now we all drown and you die. I love the law because I know when I walk outside, the ocean ain't going to come in on me. I know that when it gets dark, there's going to be a night. I love the law. I know that as long as I eat right, eat the right foods, as long as I walk right, talk right, and follow the law, I'm good. I'm going to be protected. The Most High Yah says everybody that follows the law, He's going to protect them. The New Testament tells you if you follow Jesus Christos, you're going to suffer. But in this book, it says when you follow the law, you're going to get protected. In that book, it tells you if you follow their law, you're going to suffer. They telling you why are you suffering? Because you ain't following the law. They didn't lie about everything they were going to do. They were like, oh, help me, Jesus, help me, Jesus, help me. Jesus can't help you because you signed up to not be helped. Because you signed up for the law that destroys you. When you follow these laws, this is the laws that help you. This is the law that sustains you. This is the law that give you a long life. This is the law to give you peace. This is the law that will protect you from your enemies. This is the law that will help that to keep the pop-hole from your dog. This is the law to keep you from having cancer or being sick. This is the law, right? This is the law right here that makes sure you do get sick. That your kids get kidnapped, that all this other kind of stuff happens to you. And it's written in here that it will do that to you. Yo, blessed hope Jesus tell you that if you follow him, you gonna suffer like I did. But Yah, the creator of the Old Testament tells you if you follow my laws, you gonna be safe. Nobody ain't gonna touch you. You ain't gonna get hurt. You're gonna be protected. I'm gonna send Michael down to protect you from all this other stuff. We're gonna learn about all this today, baby. Did you know we had an angel of protection? Did you know? But he is not gonna protect you if you ain't following the law. Did you know that? I bet nobody ain't never told you that. I know what his name is. It's literally written in here. Set aside for the Israelites, Michael is. The angel Michael, the most powerful angel, is set aside for the Israelites. You will be protected. But you got to follow them laws, statutes, commandments. You got to keep that Sabbath, baby. You got to keep that Sabbath. Now let's keep finding out about the law, which is wisdom. In the waves of the sea, in all the earth, and in every people and every nation. What? My throne is the pillar of the clouds. Who is this? Wisdom. And alone, wisdom alone, I surround the circles of heavens, and I walk through the depth of the abyss, and in the waves of the sea, and all the earth, and in every people, in every nation. You cannot get around this. The law. The law is for everybody. I got a possession. Who is the law's possession? With all of these, I sought rest. Who is the inheritors of the law? Everybody should know this by now. I will lodge. Then the creator of all things gave me a command. He who created me made my dwelling place to rest and said, let your dwelling place be in who? Jacob. Let your dwelling place who? Be in Jacob. Let the law be in who? Jacob. Let the dwelling place of the law be in where? Jacob. Is in who? Jacob. The heirs of the law is Jacob. And your inheritance is who? Israel. Your inheritance who? Israel. That's why they hate us, because our inheritance is Israel. We're the only one who can tell you the law and tell it to you correctly. You can find that in Psalms 147 and Psalm 78. We're the only ones who can read this law and tell you correctly why it's in our DNA. That's why when we read it, we see something that you can't see. And you be like, what are you talking about? What he talking about? Where did he get this from? The seven of us that I know that we ain't supposed to be doing no sacrifice. We read the book. We read it separately. We didn't tell each other. We all read it separately. And then we found each other later on. And we bought all the seven people that I know that know we ain't supposed to be sacrificing. That the Most High Yah never taught that. The Creator, the first Israelites, never taught sacrificing of anything. We found each other just this year. But everybody else argues with us. And we tell people, no, that when you do this, you are cursed. You curse yourself when you do any type of sacrifice, when you do any type of blood drinking, when you do any type of body eating, even if you do it in the spiritual manner. If you take a cup and pour in some wine and say, drink this as blood, and when you take a cracker and eat it as a body, you are still doing it. In the spiritual realm, it looks like you are saying, I will take some blood. And you are now cursed. You can find that in Deuteronomy. Anybody that takes the bribe of blood is cursed with not being able to see the law. Anybody that does it. Anybody that does it. If you have done that, you need to repent. That's why you read what y'all talking about. That's why he says only going to be a remnant. There will be a remnant of a remnant of a remnant, he says. Down to about 10 that will actually get to live in Zion when he come back on earth. And the rest of the people are going to be on the outside. You see that? Only 10. I want to be one of them 10 to live in Zion. You're like, what you talking about? You need to read the book. He's going to do it down, down, and down, and down. Only from this time. I'm not talking about from the past. He's going to dwindle it down from right now of the remnant. 10. Now, in 10 now. Now, in the past, all those people, they good. They're going the ones who follow the laws, the statutes, commandments, they good. Now, that's millions. That's millions. But in this era right here of time, it's only going to be a remnant of us who accept the law as it is. Some people are going to accept the law, but they're not. They're going to also have a other deity in their heart, and they're going to have to be outside the gates. You're like, what you talking about outside the gates? Go read Ezekiel. Go read Ezekiel. This is why I tell you, y'all need to get the book. And then of those people, of those remnant of Israel, you got to be from the line of Zadok. Did y'all know that? If you're not from the line of Zadok, if you could be from any of the other lines of Levi, you still ain't getting in. You got to be from the line of Zadok. You need, if you knew what I knew, if you know what I know, you will walk different. You talk different. You pray different. And then the law says here, wisdom, and your inheritance is Israel. He created me from the beginning, before the world. The law was created in the beginning, before the world. So the angels knew the law. If you go and read the book of Enoch, you'll find out that Enoch was taken and taught the law and brought it back down because it was lost for a while. Adam had the law. They all had the law, but the angels came down. Those 200, if you read in the book of Enoch, came down and what do you call it? Try to saturate out the law. And they thought they thought if they did that, then they will get to come back to heaven. Then when that didn't happen, what did they do? They built the Tower of Babel to try to get back to heaven. The Tower of Babel is just a portal. It was a portal. When they almost made it through, and the Most High y'all had to destroy the portal. You knew what I knew to keep them, because he sent them to earth for God. He said, y'all gonna stay down here. And he turned them into human beings. And said, you're gonna die like men. That's why he said you're gonna die like men. Some of these angels are walking around here, they look like men. They still got that angel DNA. That's why you see. Anyway, I know if you knew what I knew, if you knew what Abba showed me, but you can get this same information. You don't need me to do it. The Most High Yah says in Jeremiah 33:3, if you ask me, I'll tell you. He tells you, he will tell you. Y'all really don't need me to do this. You can have a personal relationship with him. Deuteronomy 13, the Most High Yah said, cleave to me. If you cleave to me, I will show you everything. If you cleave to me only, but if you got anything in your heart that is or he said, I'm not gonna listen to your prayers. And then he's not gonna answer you. The example of that is Saul. Go look at what happened with Saul. When Saul started going over here trying to get animals to sacrifice, that's why the Most High Yah got mad at him. Saul went over here and listened to these other people and decided he wants to do some sacrificing. We ain't supposed to be sacrificing. And then he's like, well, I was getting the animal so I can sacrifice it for you. He said, nigga, you know we don't do that. When the Ammonite said, you don't listen to the Ammonites, Saul, you work for me. He's like, I don't want to hear you no more then. Then Saul went to and fro trying to get people to help him get back to the Most High Yah, instead of admitting what he did was wrong. The Most High never taught sacrificing. That he was over there trying to do like the Ammonites, who sacrificed to their God. was like, nigga, please, I don't do that. All I ask you to do is obey my laws. And it tells you right here. It's a rock. It's a rock. Chapter 24. The verse 7. With all these I sought rest, in whose inheritance will I lodge? Then the creator of all things gave me a command, who created me, made me a dwelling place to rest, and said, let your dwelling place be in Jacob, and your inheritance Israel. And he created me. This is the law. This is the law. He created me from the beginning, before the world, for all ages. I will not cease to exist. I will not cease to exist. The law will not cease to exist. I'm telling you, you need the law to live. Even the other nations. He says for all the nations, everybody on earth needs the law. Because the law didn't do what the law did. The law didn't law. The law didn't law. The sun don't come and stay in its place. The moon don't stay in its place. Nothing stays in its place if the law go away. The law is the one that sets the moon where it is. The law is the one that sets the sea where it is. The law is the one that sets the earth where it is. The law is the one that tells the trees to do. The law is the one that tells the wind to blow. But you want us to get rid of the law? Make that make sense. And this is what this book do. It attacks the law. It attacks the law. Let's learn today. Y'all gonna find out today. Listen to these people. And this is gonna be it's not gonna be a quick video, but I'm playing the whole thing to listen to these folks. These are the people that's your Christian church. These are the ones that's teaching you in these Christian churches. These are the Christians. They hate Abba Yah. They hate Yah. And they think Yahs is nothing.
Jump in my new car with me. I got it on cars.com. Hey, Scott.
Welcome back to the deep dive.
Glad to be diving in.
So today, we are tackling a source text that's, it's pretty explosive, wouldn't you say?
Oh, absolutely. It doesn't just ask difficult questions. It fundamentally attacks the bedrock of, traditional Western religion.
Yeah, we're looking at a text, two gods, two covenants, why the God of the Old Testament is not the father of Jesus. And its core claim is just staggering.
It really is. It argues that Christianity, as most people understand it, is built on what it calls a foundational lie.
A lie that merges two completely different, even opposing deities.
Exactly. And that's our mission for this deep dive, right? To really unpack that claim impartially.
We have to try and just lay out the argument the source makes, regardless of how radical it sounds.
Precisely. Set aside our assumptions and just follow their logic, follow their evidence.
Okay, so what are these two figures? The source draws a very sharp line.
A very sharp line. On one side, you have the figure they label the demiurge.
And they identify this figure as Yahweh, the God of the Old Testament.
Unequivocally. And he's painted not as a loving father, but as a cosmic tyrant. The architect of this flawed material world. The enemy.
Yah, the God that I serve, they say he's the enemy. The architect of the world. The Most High Yah tells you, the God of Israel, he says, I am the God of Israel. I created the earth. He says that in Isaiah 45. I am the one who created the earth. God of Israel. Now, this is two different things going on. It's two different things going on. Because I couldn't understand back in the beginning of 2024, I was telling somebody that I used to be friends with. I was telling her, oh my goodness, when you read When you read the Old Testament and the Paleo Hebrew, it's different. It's different. It's not what you think it is. It's not what you think it is. Like that. That's what I told her. And I was like, Jesus is bad. She said, don't you attack my God. My God. I did not realize until later on that these Christians knew. The Christians knew that they wasn't worshiping the God of the Old Testament. They knew. It was just the Israelites who did not know. Why is my house full of wasps right now? Oh, hell to the no. I did not know that until I learned this now. And I stopped being friends with her. I stopped being friends with her because I realized that she hated the Creator in the Old Testament. And I love the Creator in the Old Testament. She hates him. I love him.
Essentially.
The enemy, wow. And on the other side?
On the other side is the true Father.
Yeah.
This is described as a pure, unknown, transcendent God, entirely spiritual, loving, separate from creation.
And this true Father sent Jesus, or as the source often calls him, Christos.
Yes, Christos, meaning the good one. Sent not to fix the demiurge's world, but to offer an escape route from it, from the prison.
And the source claims that mainstream Christianity, Catholic, Orthodox, Protestant has basically spent 2 millennia covering this up.
That's the core of the conspiracy aspect, that the church actively, deliberately sanitized the texts, harmonized the contradictions, and merged these 2 opposing figures into one.
Why? What was the motivation?
According to the source, it was about maintaining earthly control, building an institution, consolidating power under a single, albeit contradictory narrative, burying the raw, unfiltered truth.
Okay, a huge claim. So to even begin to entertain this, we need to understand their case against the first figure, the demiurge, Yahweh. Let's start there. Part 1, unmasking the demiurge.
Right. The source essentially puts Yahweh on trial, using the Old Testament itself as the primary evidence against him.
And the first charge is character flaws. They argue he acts in ways unbecoming of a supreme being.
Exactly. They highlight what they see as petty, reactive, very human emotions, things like jealousy, regret, anger, which they contrast sharply with the pure, unchanging light and love they associate with the true Father Jesus spoke of.
Where do they start with these alleged flaws?
Right at the beginning, almost. Genesis 6.6, the Creator looks at humanity and regrets making them.
Okay, traditional theology often frames that as divine sorrow or disappointment.
But the source flatly rejects that. They say regret is fundamentally incompatible with omniscience and perfection.
How can you regret something if you knew it was going to happen?
Precisely. It implies a mistake, a failure in planning. The source frames Yahweh here not as a sorrowful God, but as a failed project manager.
Wishing he hadn't bothered because his creation didn't turn out right.
Exactly. A truly perfect, timeless being, they argue, wouldn't make mistakes and wouldn't experience regret. It's instantaneous disqualification from being the true Father.
Okay, what about other emotions? Jealousy comes up a lot in the Old Testament.
No, massively. Exodus 34.1 time, Yahweh explicitly says, I am a jealous God. Massively. Exodus 34.1 time, Yahweh explicitly says, I am a jealous God. He even punishes children for their father's sins generations down the line.
And the source contrasts this directly with
the New Testament definition of love, particularly Paul in 1 Corinthians 13, love is not jealous.
So the logic is, if the true God is love and love isn't jealous, then a jealous God cannot be the true God.
It's that stark. They see jealousy as a sign of insecurity, possessiveness, traits of a limited, volatile being, not the ultimate source of reality, a prisoner of his own emotional volatility, as they put it.
It gets darker, though. The source accuses this deity of actual deception. That's a heady charge.
It is. They point directly to Ezekiel 14.9.
What does it say?
Yahweh speaking. And if the prophet is deceived and speaks a word, I, the Lord, have deceived that prophet.
Wow. That's explicit.
It is. And they couple that with the story of Pharaoh in Exodus.
Yeah.
The text says God hardened Pharaoh's heart.
Right. Preventing him from letting the Israelites go.
Yes. Removing his free will to comply. And then.
And so they're leaving out the part why the Most High hardened Pharaoh's heart. Why did the Most High harden Pharaoh's heart? Why was he being punished that way? Pharaoh had blood on his hand. What you talking about? Pharaoh had blood on his hand. If you got blood on your hand, the Most High gonna get you. He got Pharaoh how? Back for what Pharaoh did. What did Pharaoh do? Pharaoh threw babies into the Red Sea. You think he ain't gonna get you for unaliving little babies? The Most High, the one I worship, the God that I worship, believes in an eye for an eye. So everybody that took place, everybody that helped Pharaoh throw little babies in the Red Sea. And if you understand and understand what Pharaoh was doing, Pharaoh was paying homage to a demon that was in the Red Sea. How do I know this? If you read the Testament of Solomon, you'll find out that there was a demon in the Red Sea. And he was paying homage to the demon in the Red Sea with little baby Israelite babies. Hey, King David, peace and Baruchans. Okay, I'll keep you in my prayers. If you can listen with your earpiece, listen. But yeah, just have a Baruch day, brother. Now the Most High punished him for what he did. You see, the Most High believes in the eye for an eye. Whatever you do comes back on you. Whatever you do comes back on you. That is Deuteronomy 19. Whatever you do, y'all tie the Most High's hands. Y'all are the one that makes him wrathful. Y'all are the one that get him to send in people on you. Because the Most High believes in recompense. That's what recompense is. Eye for an eye. That's what karma is. Eye for an eye. You killed little babies in the Red Sea to this deity that was in the sea, and to one of those fallen angels that was in the sea. You are unalive little baby Israelite babies. And then you think he wasn't going to get Pharaoh back? Then they over here, he mean. He ain't mean. If you actually sit here and read the book all the way through, you'll find out that's why he did that to Pharaoh. That's why he hardened his heart. Pharaoh hardened his own heart. Pharaoh is the one who went over there and threw little babies in the Red Sea, and then he expected to be good, just like y'all over here unaliving little babies, having some misfortunes, and then you still think you're gonna get to go to heaven. You out your damn mind. You over here kidnapping people and doing all this stuff, and then you expect to be rewarded? You out your damn mind. Taking people land and conquering and all this kind of stuff when we ain't supposed to be on nobody else's land. Praying to other gods, sacrificing, all this kind of stuff. Then you expect to be rewarded by the creator versus lies? That's what these people think. Come on, they're gonna be set free from the law. Listen to them. Y'all listen to them. That's what Christianity is all about. It's being set free from the law. You can't be set free from the law and then still live on earth. Oh, look what he did to Pharaoh. Pharaoh did it to himself. Proverbs 13:3 says this: the person who do not listen to the law, who do not hearken the law, hurts his own self. You hurt your own self. You are the person that's hurting you. The Most High y'all ain't hurting you. You hurting yourself. You did it. You did it. You over here pointing the finger at the Most High y'all. Look at what you did. Look what Pharaoh did. He unalive thousands of babies. But he wants to be saved. He wants to be helped. Hell no, you don't get helped. And everybody that had something to do with it, they died. They died in that Reed Sea, the exact same sea. You see how Abba did it? The exact same sea that they threw them little babies in. The Most High y'all hardened all their hearts. They ran to the sea, then they tried to chase them, and they died in the same sea they threw them babies in. That's why when they read this, they hate the Most High y'all. Because that means the finger will point back at them, because that means they done threw some babies to alligators and they scared. Because the same thing gonna happen to them.
Israelites go.
Yes, removing his free will to comply, and then punishing him and all of you deceived and speaks a word. I, the Lord, have deceived that prophet.
Wow. That's explicit.
It is. And they couple that with the story of Pharaoh in Exodus.
Yeah.
The text says, God hardened Pharaoh's heart.
Right. Preventing him from letting the Israelites go.
Yes. Removing his free will to comply, and then punishing him and all of Egypt for the very stubbornness that Yahweh himself engineered.
That does sound manipulative, like setting someone up to fail.
The source calls it demonic gaslighting, creating the conditions for the crime, then delivering the punishment. For them, it's proof of a controlling, tyrannical nature, perfectly fitting the jailer profile they've established for the demiurge.
Okay, so that's the character critique. But then the source moves into actions, compiling what it calls a catalog of atrocities and incompetence. This must be where it gets really graphic.
Yes, this is where they detail the actions described in the text that are hardest to reconcile with a benevolent creator. Commands for genocide, for instance.
You mean like in Deuteronomy?
Exactly. Deuteronomy 7.1 to 2. The command is to utterly destroy the inhabitants of Canaan, to show no mercy. It explicitly says, leave nothing alive that breathes.
Including women and children.
Including everyone. The source argues this isn't divine justice. It's ethnic cleansing, the act of a brutal tribal war god carving out territory.
Yeah.
Completely incompatible with the universal love taught by Jesus.
Are there other examples of this level of violence they cite?
Oh, yes. They bring up passages that are often, let's say, skipped over in Sunday school. Psalm 137.9.
The one about Babylon?
Yes. It offers a blessing on anyone who takes Babylonian infants and dashes them against the rocks.
Even understanding the context of trauma and exile, attributing that sentiment, that blessing to God is difficult.
The source says it's impossible if that God is the true Father. And they pair it with Hosea 13.1c, which includes a command attributed to divine judgment to rip open pregnant women.
Again, specific, horrific violence.
They argue these aren't metaphors. They're reflections of the deity.
Why did the Most High Yah say about the Babylonians? What the who the Babylonians is? What did the Babylonians do? They mixed their seed with Lucifer. This is why Abba told us to take them off first. You like, wait a minute, what you talking about? Go read Samuel. Go read Samuel. They mixed their seed with Lucifer's seed. You like, Lucifer don't have a seed. Yes, he did. In Isaiah, the Most High Yah says that the morning star has children on earth. This is why the Most High Yah told us to not mix with certain people. Not because he hated them. It's because they were from Lucifer. There was children of Lucifer. This is why he says, told us don't mix. Even Walter Plecker in 1924 said that the Hebrews will refuses to mix with other people. Walter Plecker, that's the one that's the man who decided there's a white race and a black race. He was the first one that started that shit. And one of the things he said is the Hebrews will not mix with other people. They won't do it. Why? Because the Hebrews knew that there was two different type of people on earth. There were the children of the Most High Yah, the Adamite people who came up out the garden, and then there was the mankind, the children of Lucifer. And I've watched too many groups that know it. It's been hidden from us. It's other groups, they know. They know that there's two different types of seeds on earth. What is the name of this group? I'll find it in a minute. Let me let this play. It's a group that's on YouTube. They know that there's two different types of seeds on earth. That's why they hate us so much. That's why they go at us so much. They even proved that we have a different DNA type, different helix on the DNA than they do. Think we got 9, they got 6. I think that's what it is, 9 and 6. We have 9, they have 6. Y'all need to get in and study and show yourself proof. See what they've been hiding, what they've been lying about. That's why he told them to go in there and kill the Babylonians. That's why he told them to go take them out. That's why he also told you never to marry in certain groups. Do you understand and understand if you read this book, all mixed people of that DNA will not be on earth anymore? He said, I'm taking them off earth. They're going to get their wish to be off earth. They're going. And what Christianity has taught them is tricking them. They thinking this is a good thing to be taken off earth. No, the Most High y'all going to BK them brutally. He said, any of these mixed seed is in this book. Anybody up that mixed seed is not going to be on earth. The original DNA is only going to be on earth. The DNA of Adam and Eve. Those are the people that are going to be left. The original DNA of Japheth, the original DNA of Ham, and the original DNA of Shem. These are the only people going to be left. Everybody else will be killed off. He's gonna send in pestilence, famine, war. Then when that don't get out, then whenever whoever left, this is here. Don't believe me, believe book. That's why they don't want you to read this. Baruch. This is 2nd Baruch, chapter 70. 6, it says, and when those things which have predicated have come to pass, then the confusion will fall on all men. And some of them will fall in battle. Some of them will perish in anguish and perish. Perish means to be brutally killed. And some of them will be destroyed by their own. Then the peoples of the Most High, who is that? The peoples of the Most High. The children that are of the Most High. He just separated those two to let you know there's two different types of people on earth. Whom he has prepared before will come and make war with the leaders that are left. So they're going to be destroying their own self, each other. We're going to be on the two sides watching. Then whoever's left out of those people, then we're going to show up. And it confirms this here. This book says that after they do all the stuff that they do, then for 7 years, the Most High Yah is going to gather Judah. Judah is going to go throughout the whole world for 7 years, whooping everybody ass who is not real human beings from Adam. And who, he says, whom he had prepared before, will come and make war with the leaders that will be left. And it will come to pass, whoever gets safe out of that war, they will die in an earthquake. Whoever gets safe out of the earthquake will die in a fire. And who gets safe out of the fire will die from famine. Where do you think I getting this from? 7 years of hell is going to be on this earth. Why? Because the Most High Yah got to get rid of this bloodline. You already see them fighting each other right now. You see it's going on. He says here, before Judah goes in and start whooping up on everybody around the world, they're going to go around the whole world and they're going to whoop and whoop and whoop. He also talks about it in Amos how the Most High Yah's has warriors that are going to come on the earth and unalive anybody who is not Adamite. That's the original blood. If you knew what I knew, you would stop what you're doing. You would find out, and you need to find out who your ancestors is. You need to find out, because your ass might not be on this earth. I don't care what you do. You ain't going to be here if you are mixed with the seed of Lucifer. It's why they don't want you reading this book talking about it was done away with. It was done away with. It was done away. No, it ain't.
Horrific violence.
They argue these aren't metaphors. They're reflections of the deity's character.
In Brawl Stars, you can be a katana-wielding sushi chef. In the real world,
Violence.
They argue these aren't metaphors. They're reflections of the deity's character. Wrathful, vengeful, demanding terror and blood, more like ancient pagan deities than the father of Jesus.
What about the religious system itself? The sacrifices, the temple rituals?
The source is scathing about the Levitical system. They call it a butcher's manual.
A butcher's manual.
Yes, focused on the constant shedding of blood, the burning of animal flesh. They ask, why would an all-powerful God who owns everything, the cattle on 1,000 hills, need this constant, messy, violent appeasement?
It suggests a limitation, maybe, a need.
Precisely. A limited, hungry God. One who operates on a transactional basis, requiring specific physical rituals. This, they argue, points away from a purely spiritual, self-sufficient true father.
And this idea of limitation ties into the incompetence part of their catalog. They claim Yahweh wasn't actually all powerful.
Yes, they look for instances where his power seems constrained, or where his actions seem disproportionate, almost petty.
Like what?
The story in 2 Kings 2. Elisha the prophet gets mocked by some youths for being bald, and Elisha curses them in Yahweh's name, and 2 bears come out and maul 42 of them.
42 children mauled for.
Name calling.
The source presents this as absurd, tyrannical overkill, a sign of insecurity and pettiness, not divine justice or omnipotence. But the key text for them, disputing omnipotence,
You know
is
why?
in Judges.
The Most High got mad at them children. If you knew Levitical law, what does Levitical law say about cutting your hair? You don't cut your hair unless what? Why do you not cut your hair? You're not allowed to cut your hair unless what? You're in mourning. Mourning means what? Somebody died, somebody who's gone that you love. That's the only time we are allowed to cut our hair. So they're making fun of Elisha because Elijah left and was taken away by the Most High Yah. And Elisha was in mourning and shaved his head bald. So they ran they funky asses out, and this wasn't kids. They were in their 20s. They changed the children, making fun of him because he was in mourning over the loss of Elijah. They're making fun of a Nazarite priest. I took the Nazarite vow. I'm a Nazarite. And you're like, no, you can't. Yeah. If you read my book, the women and the men can be Nazarites. That's why y'all, when they came over here, they found us with long hair. Those were Nazarites. They don't need, the people who run around pretending to be us don't even know why you don't cut your hair. That's a Nazarite vow. Elisha was a Nazarite. When he was in mourning, that's the only time you cut your hair, is when you're in mourning. And they were making fun of the fact that he had lost someone. Because they knew what that meant back then. So the Most High Yah, you making fun of somebody who lost somebody? So now you gonna lose. They tied the Most High Yah's hand. Eye for an eye, remember? 2 for 2, remember? Life for life. They made fun of the loss of the life in Elijah's eyes. So they lost theirs. And anybody that makes fun of the loss of the life of an Israelite lose their life. Why do you think the Most High Yah is mad at Edom? Why do you think the Most High Yah says, I'm going to take all the Edomites off of earth? Because the Most High Yah said to Edom, you stood back and laughed at your own brother when they were being killed. So because of that, Edom cannot be redeemed. You stood back and laughed at your own brother. Have y'all read this book? Have y'all read this book? Because Edom stood back and laughed when calamity came on Jacob. Most High cursed Edom with no redemption. But you lie the death of your own brothers. It's wicked. That's in your heart. And they lie. The mourning of Elijah. They made fun and they poked fun of it. That's why I wanted to do these videos so I can break it down. See, they ain't reading the whole part. They only telling you the part when the Most High Yah is punishing. He ain't telling you why the Most High Yah doing the punishing. So you tie the hands of the Most High Yah. You tie them with your actions. Your actions deserve recompense. Recompense could be good or bad. That's why I keep telling you this is the year of the recompense. It's the start of recompense. Because everything that everybody doing is falling apart in their face. Look at MAGA right now. Look what they're going through. It's time for recompense. Whatever you put out there, it's coming back on you, and it's coming back in a boomerang. It's coming back fast. The Most High Yah is working faster now. Remember when people used to do something that would take them 10, 20 years to get caught, and now their asses is getting caught immediately. Soon as they doing it, within a week or two. Called recompense. Your actions. What you sow, you reap. They reaped it, they got it. And it's not going back to where your recompense is going to be slow. It's staying immediate. Now you better read Jeremiah 31. The Most High Yah says when you go and eat sour grape, that means when you sin, you're gonna get it right there. It's no longer mercy. Mercy is out the door. Y'all playing around. He ain't the one. Be playing with. You did it, and then you're gonna get mad at him because he gave you back what you did. Well, I know I did it, but you did.
But the key text for them, disputing omnipotence, is in Judges.
Judges 1.19.
That's the one. It says Judah took the hill country, but they could not drive out the inhabitants of the valley because they had chariots of iron. And it explicitly says the Lord was with Judah in the previous clause.
So the Lord was with them, but iron chariots were too tough?
That's exactly how the source reads it. A deity whose power can be thwarted by Bronze Age military technology simply cannot be the omnipotent creator of the universe. It proves, they argue, that he's a limited regional deity.
A powerful entity maybe, but not the ultimate source.
Correct. Which leads directly into their most radical historical claim in this section. Yahweh wasn't even originally the supreme God. He was a usurper.
A usurper? How do they argue that? Based on what evidence? They rely heavily on textual criticism, especially comparing the Masoretic text with older manuscripts like the Septuagint, the Greek translation, and the Dead Sea Scrolls, particularly regarding Deuteronomy 32, verses 8 and 9.
Okay, what's different in the older versions?
The older versions, according to many scholars and this source, don't say the Most High divided humanity according to the sons of Israel. They say he divided the nations according to the sons of God or sons of El.
Sons of God, meaning angels or other gods.
The source interprets this, citing scholarship on Ugaritic parallels, as referring to a divine council, a pantheon. The Most High God, El Elyon, is the chairman of the board, if you will.
El Elyon, not Yahweh.
Oh, why was the Most High initially? In this reading, El Elyon divides the nations among his 70 sons, the lesser gods of the council.
And Yahweh
receives Israel as his allotted portion, his assigned territory. He's just one of the 70 sons.
So the God of the Old Testament was originally a middle manager, on par with Baal or Chemosh.
That's exactly the claim. A regional deity assigned to a specific people. But then, according to the source, comes the cosmic betrayal.
The usurpation.
Yes. Yahweh somehow overthrows or sidelines his father, El Elyon, declares himself the Most High, the only God, and demands exclusive worship.
And what happens to his 69 brothers in this narrative, the other sons of El?
They get rebranded. Yahweh starts denouncing them as false gods, idols, and eventually as demons.
He basically demonizes his competition.
Exactly. And the source draws a chilling parallel here. They argue that Yahweh's story arc, rebelling against his father, seizing power, demanding exclusive worship, branding rivals as evil, is precisely the story that institutional Christianity later tells about Satan.
Wow. So the entity worshipped as father is actually acting out the script of the adversary? That's incredibly dark.
It sets a profoundly disturbing stage. But then the source argues into this grim reality, a completely different kind of light appears.
Which brings us to the stranger God, the true father, revealed by Jesus Christus.
Right. This is the pivot. From the demiurge depicted as jealous, wrathful, limited, and tied to the material world, we move to the concept of the alien God.
Alien meaning unknown, foreign to this world.
Exactly. Unknown, uninvolved in the creation of the...
And the Most High Yah in this book talks about there's an alien God. That alien God is the God of the Canaanites, the God of the Egyptians, the God of the Christians, the Father of Jesus. The Most High talks about the alien God. He said, I was here before this alien God. Isaiah 43. Of Isaiah. And now, thus says the Most High Yah, your creator, O Jacob, the one who fashioned you, O Israel. Fear not, I have redeemed you. I have called you by name. You are mine. When you pass through the water, I am with you. Through the rivers, they will not wash you away. When you walk through the fire, you will not be sieged, and no flame will burn you. For I am the Most High, your God, the Holy One of Israel, your Savior. I gave Egypt as a ransom and Cush and Sabia in your place. Didn't we just talk about Egypt, Cush, and the Sabaeans? That they are the one who followed the other gods? Because you were precious to me in my eyes. You were honored, and I love you. I put people in your place and regimes in the place of your soul. Fear not, I am with you, Israel. From the east I will bring your offspring, and from the west I will gather you. This is the end days. This is after the time now. I will say to the north, give them over, and to the south, do not withhold them. Bring my sons from afar and my daughters from the ends of the earth. So he got sons and daughters. Everyone who is called by my name, who I have created, That means there's some other creations on earth. The Most High Yah said the people that I created, not the ones created by the other gods. You got to realize this is a spiritual war. Whom I fashioned, even perfected, to liberate the people who are blind through they have eyes and they are deaf, but they have ears. You are blind. You are looking around and you cannot see the truth in front of you. You're deaf. You're hearing these people over in the New Testament telling you that they don't work, they hate the Creator, the first, the last, the beginning, and end, and you cannot hear it. That's why I keep saying, do you have eyes that see and ears that hear? Do you have eyes to see and ears to hear? Do you? Can you see what's going on right in front of you? This is literal war. Where all the nations gathered together and all the regimes assembled. He says, who among them could have declared this? And let us hear the early prophecies. The Most High says, I'm the only one that can give you the prophecies. I'm the only one can tell you the difference in time. The Most High Yah, the Creator, who created the Israelites. Let them bring their witnesses. Let them be vindicated, or else let them hear me. Let them say that it's true. The children of Israel, you are my witnesses. These are the words of the Most High Yah. And you are my servants, whom I have chosen, so that you will know and believe in me and understand that I am He. Before me, there was nothing created by a God, lowercase God. And there will be none after me creating. I am only one. I am the Most High Yah. There is no deliverer aside from me. I have foretold and brought salvation and informed you. There was no strange God in your midst. Strange is alien. There was no strange God in your midst. There was no other alien gods in your midst. Says the same thing in the book of Abraham. Before there was any strange God, Most High Yah says in the book of Abraham, chapter 31, for they would decay in the body of the evil worm Azazel and be burned with the fire of Azazel's tongue. Well, I hope that they will come to me and have loved and praised and loved me. But no, they love and praise a strange God. Isaiah 43 and chapter 31 of the Revelations of Abraham talks about there's a strange God, an alien God, strange, alien. Let's look up the definition of this one might be dead. Let me check. Yeah, this one's dead. Let me go get the other one. The concept of strange in Paleo Hebrew is often tied to the verb zwr, which frontally means to be separate out. A stranger is therefore one who is separate from the community or the tribe. Social In social, a stranger was someone not belonging to its own people, a foreigner, an immigrant, which could impact certain social rights. Ritual, the term was used to describe someone not of the priestly lineage of the seed of Aaron, coming near to perform sacred rituals, such as burning incense in the temple. It is forbidden. Well, now I'm going to come on. And Hebrew, the ancient script, abjad, an abjad used for writing the Hebrew language, which derived Egyptian hieroglyphs. The letters themselves were originally tied to the pictorial symbols of the aleph, meant ox, that, house. Some theories combine the pictures together. For example, father, aleph, ox, leader, house. It is the word strange is derives meaning from to establish the language of foreignness. Foreignness. Before there was a strange God, it's only me. Only me, Yah. Do y'all get what's going on now? Those demons, the ones that fell. I call them demons. The one that fell. And they came to earth. When the Most High Yah did not let them back up. Because they wanted to go back. When they got down here, they wanted to go back. They asked Enoch to ask the Most High Yah, can they come back? They wish they hadn't came down here and got it on with the daughters of man. Because you want to know how Abba punished them? When they came down here and got it on their daughters of men? The women that they married, the Most High turned them into shrews. They turned them into Medusas. He turned them into sirens and made them wicked. So they stopped being beautiful. And the Most High Yah told them they cannot leave and they cannot divorce them. They have to stay married to those things. Them angels came down, they saw the daughters of men and saw that they were beautiful, and they came down and to marry them. They married them, so the Most High Yah fixed their asses. The ones they married, the Most High turned them into something wicked, to shrews, to biddies, to they harping and fighting and arguing and this, and then they were like, oh, hell no. Can we go back? We want to go back up into the realm of the Most High Yah. Because now they got this harpy on their back all the time, screaming and yelling, and then they done had these giant ass babies. And they got to feed, and they eating up everything on earth. You see how Abba did? He tied their heads. He didn't let them come down here and just do it how they want to do it up. And they got the finest they got the baddest bitch, as them rappers be saying. He turned their fine ass into harpies and shrews and sirens and Medusas. Then they were like, oh, hell no, I don't want this. I don't want this. Then they went to Enoch, hey, can you go to him, tell him we sorry, we want to come back, because this help getting on my nerves. He's like, no, stay down there, stay married to her. So then they decided, well, since you won't let me come back up to heaven with you, we'll just ruin the whole earth. And then you just have to destroy it all. Then the Most High Yah had to send in the troops. They killed he had to kill off all the giants. Killed them all off. You truly knew what the real story is. Then Isaiah tells you that these giants and all of these different wicked things that they created and they mixed in, that the Most High Yah says they're in the neither world. And that the came down to earth and who are now men who are still living on this earth as we speak. That's the king of Babylon. That's the king of Persia. That's the king. Y'all, if you knew what I know, and they are the ones who run the world right now. Why do you think the Most High Yah was pissed off at Canaan? About Canaan? Did y'all know that Canaan had 6 fingers and 6 toes on each? Why would he have 6 fingers and 6 heads? Why? What do you think happened? That's why they were big when the children of Israel went over into the promised land, the land of Canaan. Even though that wasn't originally their land, that's the land that was originally the land of Shem. There was giants. Where do you think them giants come from after that? Because they were still making babies with them. The spirits was coming in making babies. She went in there and they did some things, and he did a ritual. Ham did a ritual. To cause the Nephilim to come back onto the earth. If you knew what you was looking at, you knew what you was reading, it would change how you walk, how you talking, to change how you look at people too. He over there talking about destroying. They Nephilim. They ain't supposed to be here. If you actually translate these people's names, it'll tell you. See Lucifer in the Samuel. He literally called the Ammonites the seed of Lucifer. Why you want to destroy him? Why would y'all want to see the Lucifer on earth? Why? Y'all want him? Y'all want him? You see how wicked they is? They have no concern, the young and the old. They don't care about nobody but themselves. Just like their daddy Lucifer. They hate their wife, they hate their kids, they hate the earth, they hate animals, they hate everything. All they care about is their own pleasure. And you want them to stay on earth? Why? Why?
The creation of this world, purely spiritual and represented by Jesus, or Christos, the good one. He's the envoy from outside the prison.
And the core of this part is the direct contrast in character between Yahweh and this true Father.
Absolutely. It's all about the antithesis. Where Yahweh commands destruction of enemies, the Father of Jesus, as cited from Luke 6.35, is kind to the ungrateful and the wicked.
Love your enemies, turn the other cheek.
Principles that are fundamentally irreconcilable with the commands in Deuteronomy or the actions attributed to Yahweh is presented as evidence of 2 completely different sources, 2 different moral universes.
The source also emphasizes the light-darkness contrast, right?
Critically, they quote 1 John 1.5. God is light. In him is no darkness at all. Pure, unadulterated light.
And they contrast that with
Isaiah 45.7, where the Old Testament deity explicitly states, I form light and create darkness. I make well-being and create calamity. I am the Lord, who does all these things.
So the demiurge creates darkness and evil as part of his system.
While the true Father exists entirely outside of that duality, he is light, period. The source argues this distinction is absolute proof they cannot be the same being. One manages the prison, including its dark corners. The other offers escape into pure light.
This true God is also described as unchanging, still.
Yes, unchanging stillness, eternal, perfect, motionless, incapable of reaction, regret, jealousy, or rage, because those imply change and imperfection. The demiurge, as shown in part 1, is constantly reacting, changing his mind, feeling a regret, again, a fundamental incompatibility.
And Jesus himself, according to the source, constantly emphasized this separation.
Constantly. My kingdom is not of this world. From John 18.36 is a key verse for them.
And John 8.23.
You are from below. I am from above. You are of this world. I am not of this world. It's seen as a direct statement of ontological difference. He's not just from a different place. He's from a different kind of reality, representing a different source.
And this world, this below, the source sees it literally as a prison, a flawed creation.
Yes, not a place to be saved or perfected, but a failed project of the demiurge, a construct to be escaped.
So Jesus didn't come to fix the prison.
He came to show the exit. His message isn't about improving your life within the demiurge's system, but about transcending it altogether, leaving the material world and its ruler behind.
This makes his confrontations with the religious authorities seem even more pointed, like in John 8.44.
Definitely. When he tells them, you are of your father, the devil, the source interprets the devil here, not necessarily as the later Christian figure, but as a direct reference to their father figure, the ruler of their system, the demiurge, Yahweh.
He's saying their allegiance is to the jailer, the one whose desires are murder and lies, reflecting the actions attributed to Yahweh in part 1.
Precisely. It's a direct accusation. Your loyalty is to the God of this violent, deceitful world system, not to the true Father I represent.
Which leads to maybe the most controversial claim in this section. Jesus came to cancel the Old Testament, not fulfill it.
Yes, they label the traditional idea of fulfillment as the church's greatest forgery, and necessary fiction to blend the two incompatible figures.
How do they argue for cancellation based on Jesus's actions?
Through specific acts of what they call divine defiance, things that directly violated the core tenets of the demiurge's law.
Like breaking the Sabbath.
Repeatedly. The Sabbath was foundational to Yahweh's covenant. Jesus' healing on the Sabbath wasn't just compassion. It was, according to the source, a deliberate statement of allegiance to a higher authority whose law superseded the demiurge's. God's compassion overrides ritual law.
What else? Dietary laws.
Declaring all foods clean.
What's up, gamers? Back in the lab. We spoke, if y'all listen. We asked.
Yeah, I heard that right.
Name was next to break.
He
God's
purposely
compassion overrides ritual law.
He purposely broke the Sabbath on purpose. He purposely broke the Sabbath. And then he turns around and tells you in the New Testament, I will be your Sabbath. But the Most High tells you over, and it's not over and over and over again, the Sabbath will be a sign between me and you. Y'all will not worship in the same gods. They've been lying. But the Most High Yah said this was going to happen in Deuteronomy, that we're going to end up worshiping gods of wood and stone, thinking we worshiping the Most High Yah, and we ain't. The truth is out. Now it's up to you to choose. Choose life or choose death. You can't get past the fact that the Most High Yah is the creator of everything. They can say that there's somebody higher than the Most High Yah all they want to. It's not. That's why they hate him so much. Shalom, Jeremy. Peace and brother. That's why they hate the Most High Yah so much. Because he is higher than him. Remember, Lucifer said, I'm going to raise myself up above your throne. I'm going to do all these things. Well, what do you think that book is all about? saying that he is higher than him. That's why he called himself El Elyon, the Most High. And then the Israelites came and said, the Most High is Yah, not you. That's what Elyon means, the Most High. Know your languages. Yahweh means he that is. Meaning he was here before anything. I am that I am. I was, I am, and I'm going to be. That's what Yah means. That's what Yahweh means. That's what Ahaya means. That's why some people call him Yahweh, some people call him Yah, some people call him different things. You're still saying the same thing. That he is. I mean, he is. That means I call him duh sometimes because there's nothing without the Most High Yah. There's nothing without the. There's no the sun, the moon, the stars. You cannot have it without the Creator. You cannot have nothing without Yah. Nothing will exist. And y'all need to come out the matrix. What pill are you going to choose? The blue or the red? The book of life or the book of death? That's the whole reason for life. Hallelujah. Yes, Jeremy. That's all this is about. It's a war. And the Most High Yah closed up the book for punishment. He closed up the law. This is why he said he's going to bring us up out of the wilderness. What is the wilderness, y'all? The wilderness is anywhere that is without the law. And what has been going across the world has been a water that does not feed, a water that does not bring life. The water that you have been seeing, the water, y'all don't even realize that what this is wormwood. The Most High said, I'm going to give you wormwood. This is wormwood. People are looking for a thing to fall down out of the sky. People are looking for a desert. If you actually go in there and read, the Most High said you are in the wilderness when you don't have me. So we have been in the wilderness because we've been worshiping gods of wood and stone. We've been getting wormwood. What's wormwood? Death. You've been going in and drinking that thing that will cause you death. You've been drinking blood. This is death. This is wormwood. This is the wilderness. This is why he said, I gave the inheritance of the law. I gave it to Jacob. We agreed on it. In my book, the Most High offered it to Esau. He offered it to the Moabites. He offered it to different people, and they did not want it because there were restrictions in the law. You can't kill, you can't steal, you can't kidnap people, you can't do this, and they didn't want to do it. In my book, it tells you that then it came to the Israelites and we accepted these terms. Our inheritance was the law. That's why we know the law. That's why we can read the law. That's why we can understand the law. The law was an inheritance. And other people can't. I ain't saying we're better than somebody else because we still got in trouble. But he said we was going to get in trouble in the beginning. Remember, I told you that for the Most High Yah, time is circular. It's all right here together. Let me show you a better example. So you can see it from my point of view. See it from how Abba showed me. So see the clock. See the clock. It's just a decorative clock. I don't actually have a thing in it. But for the Most High Yah, time is like this. It's together. Everything rests on the 12. Hold on. All together like this. So every time he talks to somebody, he tells them the beginning and the end at the same time. So for the Most High Yah, it's like that. But for us, time is linear, separate. So it starts here at 12, and we have to go around like this to get to the ending. Do you see it now? Can you see? That's why he tells you in Isaiah, I am the only one that can tell you the beginning from the end. And Jesus Christos tell you himself in the New Testament. He cannot tell you when, what, when, and how. But in the Tanakh, the Most High Yah can. He can tell you what's going to happen, when, where, how. If you actually read the book, you will see him tell everybody. Putting it back on this right here. The reason I got it on this time right here, I had a dream about this time. I don't know what this is. I just know I had a dream about time. So I got this clock. I don't let it work. I just keep it at 12. It's 12:26. Yeah, 12:26. I had a dream about this time. I don't know what that is. So that's why I keep it at that time. And I hung it up there. So, now do you understand and understand about how time is? How time is. So, the Most High Yah said in the beginning, when he was talking to Abraham, he said, Yah, your children are going to go through 400 years of hard slavery. We didn't go through totally hard slavery in Egypt. You're like, what? We went to, yeah. When they came up out of Egypt, they knew who they were. They knew they were still the Israelites. When they went through the Babylonian captivity, they knew who they were. They still knew who Yah was. They knew Yah's name. They knew about the law. The Most High Yah said, y'all, the last group who tripping, he said, I'm going to scatter you. He tells you over and over. He tells them in Jeremiah. He tells you in Ezekiel. He tells you in Deuteronomy. I'm going to scatter y'all. And y'all going to do hard time, meaning we are not going to know who we are. We're not going to know where we are. We ain't going to know shit. And what time is that? That's now. Because when you tell somebody, oh, when I say I'm an Indian and this is my land, you ain't shit. You came from Africa. Then you say, hey, I'm an Israelite. I came from the tribe of Ephraim and Levi. You ain't shit. You came from Africa. But the ones on there, you a monkey. You a monkey. You a monkey. You ain't even human. You a monkey. He told Abraham about this going to happen. He told Levi this was going to happen. He told all this was going to happen. But Jesus Christos tells you that he cannot tell you the future. He don't know. He don't know. So he can't be the son of the Most High Yah if he don't know. But the prophets knew. The prophets knew more than Jesus Christos. The prophets, if you go read the prophets, each of these prophets is telling you the beginning from the end. Abraham telling you the beginning from the end. Levi telling you the beginning from the end. Moses telling you the beginning from the end. Ezra's telling you the beginning from the end. Baruch telling you the beginning from the end. Enoch telling you the beginning from the end. But Jesus couldn't do it. Isaiah, beginning from the end. I know everything's going to happen because it's already written. He said, I did not hide it. He laid it out before you. He says, I laid it all out. I didn't hide it. He tells you in two different places, in Isaiah and in Deuteronomy. He tells you in Deuteronomy 30 and Isaiah 45, I didn't hide it. I'm going to tell you everything that's going to happen. Everything. But then why this motherfucker over in this other book can't tell you shit? Why he can't tell you, but Isaiah can? But Moses can tell you. But Baruch and Ezra can tell you. That lets you know he ain't coming from the Most High, y'all, because he would have told them. Like he tell everybody. He told Jeremiah, all we got to do is ask, and he will tell you. I asked and he showed me. Just get this book and read it. And got the book and read it. I'm like, oh, I know everything's going to happen. But that nigga couldn't tell you shit. He couldn't tell, I don't know what's going on. I don't know. You got to wait, but I don't know.
What else? Dietary laws.
Declaring all foods clean. That wipes out a huge chunk of Levitical code.
And 8.44.
Definitely. When he tells them you are of your father, the devil, the source interprets the devil here, not necessarily as the later Christian figure, but as a direct reference to their father figure, the ruler of their system, the demiurge, Yahweh.
He's saying their allegiance is to the jailer, the one whose desires are murder and lies, reflecting the actions attributed to Yahweh in part 1.
Precisely. It's a direct accusation. Your loyalty is to the God of this violent, deceitful world system, not to the true Father I represent.
Which leads to maybe the most controversial claim in this section. Jesus came to cancel the Old Testament, not fulfill it.
Yes, they label the traditional idea of fulfillment as the church's greatest forgery, a necessary fiction to blend the two incompatible figures.
How do they argue for cancellation? Based on Jesus's actions?
Through specific acts of what they call divine defiance, things that directly violated the core tenets of the demiurge's law.
Like breaking the Sabbath.
Repeatedly. The Sabbath was foundational to Yahweh's covenant. Jesus' healing on the Sabbath wasn't just compassion. It was, according to the source, a deliberate statement of allegiance to a higher authority whose law superseded the demiurge's. God's compassion overrides ritual law.
What else? Dietary laws.
Declaring all foods clean. That wipes out a huge chunk of Levitical code, another pillar of separation and control under the old system. It's seen as dismantling the structure piece by piece.
And his approach to forgiveness, bypassing the temple.
Absolutely crucial. The temple system, with its priests and animal sacrifices, was the demiurge's prescribed method for atonement. Jesus forgiving sins directly, freely, without sacrifice, rendered the entire temple apparatus obsolete,
He was essentially putting the official system out of business.
and demonstrating that access to the true Father didn't require the demiurge's blood-based economy. But the most shocking violation, for the source,
Is the communion command to drink his blood.
yes,
Yeah.
Leviticus is absolutely clear multiple times. Consuming blood is forbidden. It's an abomination under Yahweh's law.
Yet Jesus says, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you.
It's a command that is utterly unthinkable within the framework of the Old Testament. The source argues this is the ultimate proof of allegiance to a different God. It's a loyalty test that requires violating the demiurge's most sacred taboos, an anti-Yahweh ritual, in essence.
Well, they also point to the name Jesus uses for God, right?
They make a big deal of the fact that Jesus rarely, if ever, uses the personal name Yahweh. He consistently speaks of my Father, or the Father, or your Father in heaven.
Implying someone previously unknown.
Exactly. He refers to the Father in John 5:37 as someone you have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his shape. This points, they argue, to the introduction of a new stranger God, not the familiar figure of the Old Testament.
Even the Transfiguration story gets reinterpreted.
Yes, they see it as a clue that slipped through the later editing process. Moses represents the law, Elijah represents the prophets, the pillars of the Old Covenant.
They appear with Jesus, then vanish.
And the voice from heaven doesn't say, listen to all three of them. It says, this is my beloved Son. Listen to him.
So the law and the prophets fade away, superseded by the voice of the Son representing the true Father.
It's presented as a clear symbolic message. The old system is over. Follow the new path, the exit.
Okay, if the division is that stark, that antagonistic, how on earth did they get merged? This brings us to part 3, the grand forgery.
Let me
How the system
play
is
it again for you.
include these two gods.
Drinking blood, drinking blood, drinking blood is against the Levitical law. The Most High Yah says that anybody drink blood will be separated and put to death. These niggas come on here into the thing and tell y'all to drink his blood. Y'all gonna follow him? It's gonna get you brutally killed. Most High says anybody that has blood on their hands, he will not listen to your prayers. That is in Isaiah. That is in Deuteronomy. You got blood on you. Your prayers ain't being answered by the first, the last, the beginning, and the end. Your prayers ain't being answered by him. When my prayers get answered, Lucifer's answering your prayers. And the Most High says, oh, in Ezekiel 20, if you take that gift of the firstborn to Moloch, he is going to destroy you. It's Ezekiel 20, verse 23. Sacrificing firstborn to Moloch. Then this dude come right over here and tell you he the firstborn and he a sacrifice. And drink my blood.
The grand forgery. How the system supposedly glued these two gods together.
Right. The source argues Father in John 5:27 as someone you have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his shape. This points, they argue, to the introduction of a new stranger God, not the familiar figure of the Old Testament.
Even the transfiguration story gets reinterpreted.
Yes, they see it as a clue that slipped through the later editing process. Moses represents the law, Elijah represents the prophets, the pillars of the old covenant.
They appear with Jesus, then vanish.
And the voice from heaven doesn't say, listen to all three of them. It says, this is my beloved son. Listen to him.
So the law and the prophets fade away, superseded by the voice of the Son representing the true Father.
It's presented as a clear symbolic message. The old system is over. Follow the new path, the exit.
Okay, if the division is that stark, that antagonistic, how on earth did they get merged? This brings us to part 3, the grand forgery. How the system supposedly glued these two gods together.
Right. The source argues this wasn't accidental drift. It was a deliberate.
Unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you.
It's a command that is the source, a deliberate statement of allegiance to a higher authority whose law superseded the demiurges. God's compassion overrides ritual law.
What else? Dietary laws.
Declaring all foods clean. That wipes out a huge chunk of Levitical code, another pillar of separation and control under the old system. It's seen as dismantling the structure piece by piece.
And his approach to forgiveness, bypassing the temple.
Absolutely crucial. The temple system, with its priests and animal sacrifices, was the demiurge's prescribed method for atonement. Jesus forgiving sins directly, freely, without sacrifice, rendered the entire temple apparatus obsolete.
He was essentially putting the official system out of business.
And demonstrating that access to the true Father didn't require the demiurge's blood-based economy. But the most shocking violation, for the source,
is the communion command to drink his blood.
Yes.
Yeah.
Leviticus is absolutely clear multiple times. Consuming blood is forbidden. It's an abomination under Yahweh's law.
Yet Jesus says, unless you eat the flesh of the Son of Man and drink his blood, you have no life in you.
It's a command that is utterly unthinkable within the framework of the Old Testament. The source argues this is the ultimate proof of allegiance to a different God. It's a loyalty test that requires violating the demiurge's most sacred taboos. An anti-Yahweh ritual, in essence.
Well, they also point to the name Jesus uses for God, right?
They make a big deal of the fact that Jesus rarely, if ever, uses the personal name Yahweh. He consistently speaks of my Father, or the Father, or your Father in heaven.
Implying someone previously unknown.
Exactly. He refers to the Father in John 5:37 as someone you have neither heard his voice at any time nor seen his shape. This points, they argue, to the introduction of a new stranger God, not the familiar figure of the Old Testament.
Even the transfiguration story gets reinterpreted.
Yes, they see it as a clue that slipped through the later editing process. Moses represents the law, Elijah represents the prophets, the pillars of the old covenant.
They appear with Jesus, then vanish.
And the voice from heaven doesn't say, listen to all three of them. It says, this is my beloved son. Listen to him.
So the law and the prophets fade away, superseded by the voice of the Son representing the true Father.
It's presented as a clear symbolic message. The old system is over. Follow the new path, the exit.
Okay, if the division is that stark, that antagonistic, how on earth did they get merged? This brings us to part 3, the grand forgery. How the system supposedly glued these two gods together.
Right. The source argues this wasn't accidental drift. It was a deliberate, systematic campaign of textual corruption and theological manipulation.
Aimed at transforming the original movement.
Of the Christians, followers of Christos, the good one into Christianity, followers of Christos, the Jewish Messiah, thereby linking Jesus back to the Demiurge's plan.
And this process started early. They pinpoint Marcion around 140 AD.
Yes, Marcion is cast as a key figure who tried to preserve the original distinction. He apparently compiled the very first New Testament.
What was in it?
According to historical accounts and the source's interpretation, it was much shorter than ours. Just one gospel, a version of Luke, and 10 letters of Paul.
And the key feature was what it lacked.
Exactly. No birth narrative for Jesus, no genealogy tracing him back to David or Adam, and absolutely no Old Testament quotations presented as prophecies he fulfilled.
Why is that so important?
Because it presents Jesus as appearing fully formed, descending from the true Father, completely disconnected from the Demiurge's world, history, and lineage, an envoy from outside the system.
Okay, so Marcion's text represented the pure version.
That's the claim. And the source argues that the canonical Gospels we have now, Matthew, Mark, and especially John, were written later, partly as a direct response, a counterattack against Marcion's separationist view.
They call them Judaizing edits.
Yes, texts designed specifically to reattach Jesus to the Old Testament narrative. Matthew is obsessed with finding prophecy fulfillment and famously starts with a long genealogy linking Jesus to Abraham and David.
Which Marcion's gospel lacked.
Completely. So Matthew is seen as creating a historical anchor, forging a link back to the Demiurge's lineage. Mark also incorporates Old Testament themes.
And John? You said John was seen as particularly sophisticated propaganda.
Yes, because it uses Greek philosophy, the concept of the logos, the word, to bridge the gap.
In the beginning was the word, linking Jesus to the Genesis creation.
Exactly. The source argues this wasn't a profound theological insight, but a clever way to make the alien god's messenger seem like part of the original creation plan, the Demiurge, thereby smoothing over the radical break Marcion represented. It made the new message by grafting it onto the old root.
And this alleged corruption didn't stop with the Gospels. They claim Paul's letters were tampered with too.
Yes, this is crucial. They believed the real Paul was a radical apostle of freedom from the law, completely aligned with the stranger God.
But his letters in our Bible contain passages that seem, well, more conciliatory towards the law or respectful of the Jerusalem apostles.
The source claims those passages were later insertions, forged lines added to water down Paul's radicalism,
Particularly passages that make him seem friendly with the Jerusalem group.
whom Paul himself in Galatians 2 called false brothers, who wanted to bring believers back into slavery under the law. The source argues these insertions were designed to neutralize Paul's anti-law stance and make him seem like part of a unified, law-respecting early church,
Which feeds into their view of the book of Acts.
which they dismiss entirely as a complete work of fiction,
Fiction. Why?
because it portrays Paul as cooperative with Jerusalem, respectful of Jewish customs, and generally a tame figure. It paints a picture of harmony and apostolic unity that the source believes never existed. Acts, they claim, was written to create a palatable institutional history that glossed over the fundamental conflict between Paul's message of freedom and the Jerusalem church's adherence to the Demiurge's law.
Creating a Judaizing Paul who never existed.
Exactly.
They keep calling
All
it
part of the grand
Demiurge.
forgery to ensure the resulting religion served the Demiurge's agenda of control, not Christos' message of liberation.
This leads to what they call the name game, the shish from Christos to Christos.
It sounds minor, just one letter, an E versus an E,
Wow.
eta, in Greek. But the source claims the implications were enormous.
Christos means
The good, or the useful one. Followers were Christians, followers of the good one sent by the true Father,
and Christos.
the anointed one, the Messiah, specifically the Jewish Messiah, expected within the framework of Old Testament prophecy and Yahweh's covenant.
So changing that one letter fundamentally shifted the identity of Jesus and the nature of the movement.
It transformed it from a universal spiritual liberation movement into a fulfillment of Jewish messianic expectation, tying it directly back to the Demiurge and his system. This, the source argues, was the key step in the Judaizing process.
And they make an incredibly provocative claim about the title Christ,
They argue it's not a holy name, it's the brand of the system,
the brand.
the label that signifies allegiance to the Demiurge's world system, the mark of ownership by the God of this world. They even equate it with the mark of the beast, 666, interpreting that not as a literal number, but as the symbol of enslavement to the material world's ruler.
Wow. And the final piece of
So who the mark of the beast? Who's the mark of the beast? They're saying Yah is the mark of the beast. I told y'all this already. They're saying the creator Yah is the beast. They say he a dragon. He a dragon because the Most High Yah comes down in fire. The Most High Yah comes down and surrounded by fire and smoke. So he's a dragon. But Daniel describes the Most High Yah. He no dragon. He ain't no dragon. We made in his image. We made look like him. We look like the Most High Yah. His beautiful red skin, red eyes. Red eyes is just brown, baby, brown. Red and brown is the same thing. Go look up the color of Indian red. Indian red is just brown. He said he had red eyes and red, he was red. Just Indian brown is red, same thing. Well, they saying we, that's why they hate us. Because when they look at us, they see Yah.
Material world's ruler.
Wow. And the final piece of this forgery is the institutional church itself.
Yes. The structure that emerged, particularly after Constantine, is seen not as the body of Christ, but as the demiurge's ultimate tool, forged in Roman politics, not divine revelation.
They point to things like the Council of Nicaea.
As examples of bloody councils where doctrines were hammered out through political power struggles and philosophical debate, not spiritual truth. They call the Trinity, for instance, a monstrous doctrine.
Why monstrous?
Because, they argue, it's an illogical construct borrowed from pagan philosophy.
In Brawl Stars, you can be a katana-wielding sushi chef. In the real world,
Borrowed from pagan philosophy, designed primarily to create an incomprehensible mystery that necessitates a priestly class to interpret it.
A hierarchy to control access to God.
Precisely. Creating gatekeepers, priests, bishops, popes, along with rituals, sacraments, and control over scripture, ensuring the individual couldn't achieve liberation directly, but had to go through the demiurge's approved channels.
And they backed this up with force.
The source points to the historical persecution and killing of dissenting groups, like the followers of Marcion or later Gnostic groups, as evidence that the institutional church acted as the enforcement arm of the demiurge, violently suppressing the original message of Christos.
It's a chilling narrative of systematic suppression and manipulation. So if any of this resonates, what does it mean for someone listening right now? This brings us to part 4, the final choice and the exit.
Yes, the source brings it right down to the individual. It frames the whole thing as an unavoidable choice, echoing Jesus's words. You cannot serve two masters.
Because the offers from the two purported gods are fundamentally different.
Completely incompatible. They lead to different outcomes, different realities. You have to choose which offer you accept, which master you follow.
Let's recap the demiurge's offer as the source sees it.
The demiurge offers law, judgment, control through fear and guilt. His ultimate reward is within his own system, a physical resurrection, maybe a perfected earth, but it's still his creation, his domain. The source calls it just an upgraded prison cell.
Better conditions, perhaps, but still inside the jail, religion as control.
Exactly. Keeping you bound to the material world and its ruler.
And the true father's offer.
Pure.
So they think that earth is prison. Talk to some people, ask them. They're going to tell you that earth is hell. But for us, earth is paradise. That's why they make that's why they butt in to our business when we're over having a good time. They'll ruin it for us. That's why we have a good time here. We know how to enjoy ourselves. Sing and dance here, happy here. Because we know this is our land. They hate it here. So they're going to make everybody around them miserable. That's why you got Karens and Darrens and Kevins and Evans or whatever you want to call them. Because you over here having your best life, enjoying yourself, and they were like, we're going to ruin this shit for y'all right here, right now. Because this hell for us. We don't want to be here. We want to be off earth. That's why they want a rapture. Because this is not their earth. They weren't supposed to be here. The Most High Yah says in Isaiah that they had a place. They had a place. They destroyed it. I don't know if this is in your book or not. You can go and check and see. But in my book, in Isaiah, Isaiah chapter 14 says what? All the kings of the nations, all of them lie in honor, each in his place. But you have been flung from the grave like a detested tree shoot, like a garment of corpse pierced by the sword. which are lowered into the stones of what? Of the pit. They're going to hell. Like a trampled carcass. Verse 20. You will not join them in burial, for you have destroyed your own land, and you killed your own people. And your evil offspring will not be called by your name long for long. Who he talking about? Who he said that they had their own land, and he had his own people, and he killed his own people, and his evil offspring destroyed their earth and their land. Who he talking about? So let's go back up to Isaiah 14. Who he talking about? Verse 11. Brought down to the nether world were you, your pride, tumult of your stranger instrument. Maggots are spread out under you, and worms are your cover. How have you fallen from heavens, O glowing morning star? The morning star had their own land, had their own people, and they killed them all. He's so wicked, he killed his own people. Then he slipped his ass on down over here to earth. The Most High says he's the king of Babylon. He's on earth. He is running Babylon. Who is the king of Babylon? Ain't that the president? Didn't they call him Cyrus just not too long ago? In Daniel, they call this same person Daniel chapter 10 and 11. The end. In your book, it might be the beginning of 11 or 12, because my book is different because it has more information. But in Daniel, it reads, as he spoke to me, I strengthened myself, and I said, speak, my master, for you have strengthened me. He said, do you know why I came to you, Daniel? Now I return to do battle with who? The heavenly prince of Persia. The prince of Persia is a demigod. What else? Then I will depart, and behold, he gonna go over and fight with who? The heavenly prince of Greece. The prince of Greece is a demigod. Fallen angel on earth. I just showed you 3 different fallen angels running shit. Persia, Greece. Oh, what the book y'all got? Ain't this a Greek book? Ain't this a Greek book with a Greek god, with a Greek thing, and he got a son, and he married a woman, and he had a baby? I keep telling you, we're Hebrew Israelites, not Greek Israelites. King of Babylon, Prince of Persia. Come on, people. He literally says in my book, heavenly. I bet it don't say heavenly in yours. I got it highlighted. You didn't even see me highlight this. I've already read this. It's right there. Heavenly. Heavenly. know what you're looking at. Because you're not going into the original languages. And you think you're worshiping the God of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and you're not. You worshiping a strange God. That's what the Most High Yah calls him, a strange God. At some point, you got to just accept the truth and choose who you are going to serve.
And the true Father's offer.
Pure love, light, and liberation from this world. Escape from the prison altogether. It's not about future reward within the system, but about accessing a different reality of stillness and eternity, available now through gnosis, through knowing.
Freedom from the body, not resurrection of the body.
A radical difference. Immediate spiritual liberation versus eventual improvement within the confines.
This must completely change the meaning of repentance, too.
Drastically. Traditional repentance is feeling sorry for sins, for breaking the law. But if the law belongs to the demiurge,
then repenting for breaking his rules is just reinforcing his authority.
Precisely. True repentance in this view isn't about feeling bad for sins. It's about renouncing the demiurge himself. It's turning away from his entire system, his world, his laws, and ceasing to love this fallen reality.
It's a cognitive shift, a change of allegiance.
A complete rejection of the prison and the jailer, and a conscious turning towards the true Father outside. An act of spiritual rebellion, you could say.
And here's maybe the most empowering or perhaps terrifying claim for the listener. The source says you have the power to judge the demiurge.
Yes. This connects back to Genesis, the tree of knowledge. The serpent says, you will be like God, knowing good and evil. The demiurge didn't want humans to have that capacity.
But they ate the apple. They gained that knowledge.
And according to the source, that act, humanity, inner capacity to discern good from evil, light from darkness. Therefore, you, the listener, inherently possess the ability and the right to look at the character and actions of Yahweh, as described in the text, and judge whether they align with true goodness and divinity.
So you don't need an external authority, a church, a priest, a theologian to tell you if the God of the Old Testament seems cruel or contradictory. Your own inner sense of morality and truth is sufficient.
That's the radical claim. Your own conscience, your own connection to the spark of the true Father within you is the ultimate authority. You can judge the system and its purported creator for yourself.
It's the ultimate decentralization, which leads to the final command from the source. Burn the map.
Stop trusting the guides and the charts provided by the system. The Bible, they argue, is a contested field, deliberately corrupted.
A reliable guide.
Not a reliable guide to the true Father, no. It's full of the demiurge's propaganda mixed with fragments of truth. And the church is a corpse investments, an empty shell maintaining the illusion of authority.
So where do you find the truth?
Not in a book or an institution. The real Jesus, they claim, isn't the character constructed in the Bible. He is the living door.
The exit.
The exit. The means of direct access to the silent, motionless, eternal reality of a true Father. Everything else, theology, rituals, scripture study within the system, is just distraction.
Just noise before the fire, as the source puts it. A very stark, very demanding perspective.
It completely reframes everything. We started with this idea of Yahweh perhaps being just one of 70 sons, a lesser God who took over.
Then we looked at the source's character assassination, regret, jealousy, deception, violence, arguing he couldn't be the true Father.
Contrasted with the true Father's nature, pure light, unchanging love revealed by Jesus Christos, who came to cancel the demiurge's law, not fulfill it. His actions, like breaking the Sabbath or demanding his blood be drunk, were acts of defiance.
And then the alleged cover-up. Marcion's original gospel suppressed, the canonical gospels written as counter-propaganda, Paul's letters edited, Acts written as fiction, even the name changed from Christos to Christos to re-Judaize the movement.
All culminating in an institutional church designed by the demiurge to control access to God and maintain the prison. The mat itself, the source says, is designed by the jailer.
Which leaves us with a very pointed final thought for you, the listener. If we take the source's argument seriously for a moment, that the world and its dominant religious structures might be a kind of prison built by a less so jealous God, and that your own awakened consciousness holds the key.
Then the question becomes personal.
What structure or belief system in your own life, something you currently accept as foundational truth, maybe something political, economic, social, or even deeply personal? What if that is actually the most sophisticated lock on your own door? What accepted reality might be keeping you confined?
That's the challenge the source leaves us with. What map are you using and who drew it?
Definitely something to mull over. Thank you for exploring this incredibly provocative material with us.
Always fascinating, even
Do you see what they think? See what they think? Do you see what they think? The Testament, the 12 patriarchs of Levi. Chapter 5. And thereon the messenger, the angel, opened the gates of heaven to me. And I saw the holy temple. This is Levi speaking. And the Most High Yah on his throne, the Most High Yah of glory. This is why I call him the glory of all glories. And he said to me, Levi, I have given you the blessings of the priesthood until I come sojourn in the midst of Israel. I keep telling you, the Most High Yah is coming here, coming here. The place these people say is a prison. Then the messenger brought me down to earth. So Levi was in heaven with the Most High Yah, saw him sitting on his throne, and he didn't die. But they teach you over in the other book, you would die. Then he told Levi and Simeon, go execute vengeance on Shechem for what they did to your sister. What are you talking about? They had a sister. It was 12 sons and a daughter. And they kidnapped her and raped her and all kinds of shit. And the Most High says, go get them. This is the bad God now. This is the Most High Yah, the creator, the first and last, the beginning and end, says, go get them for what they did. And anybody who participated in the kidnapping of her. Now, this is before Moses. This is Levi. How old Levi said he was when this happened? He was 20 years old when him and Simeon went and worked vengeance for their sister Dinah. He was 20 years old. He didn't have kids yet. He didn't have a wife yet. Levi was 20 when this happened. And the Most High Yah told him to go get these folks for kidnap. When did I just tell you the Most High Yah tells you in my book, if you kidnap somebody, you're going to be put to death. They kidnapped her. Jacob's daughter, only daughter. All they tell you is, yeah. Simeon and Levi went and killed all the people in Shechem. Why? They kept her hostage and then they surrounded her and kept them from getting their sister back. And the Most High says anybody that do any kidnapping lose their life. So you want him to go against his own law? And then he says, the Most High says, I will be with you because the Most High Yah has sent me. And I destroyed the sons of Hammer at that time, as it is written in the heavenly tablet. This was already written. It was going to happen. Everything was already written. Why? Because the Most High Yah knows the beginning from the end. You even go in there and you will hear Moses say, as it was written in the heavenly tablets. Because they got their own writings. Everything been written out. And I said to him, please, O master, tell me your name, that I may call you in the day of tribulation. He said, I am a messenger who intercedes for the nation of Israel, that they may not be utterly smitten. Every evil spirit attacks the Israelites. Then let's go over to Daniel. This is Levi said this. Now, oh, what else did Levi say? About a little bit about the heavens. Therefore, regarding the heavens which have been shown to you, the lowest is for this reason gloomy to you. Let me go back up so you can understand this different levels. I, Levi, was born in Haran, and I came with my father to Shechem, and I was young, 20 years of age, and with Simeon I worked vengeance on Hamor for my sister Dinah. And when I was feeding the flock in Abel Moel, the spirit of understanding, wisdom of the Most High Yah came to me. And I saw all the men corrupting their way, and the unrighteousness had built walls for itself. The lawlessness sat on the towers, and I was grieving for the race of the Son of Men. And I prayed to the Most High Yah that I may be saved from these people. And then there fell on me a sleep, and I beheld a high mountain, and I was on it. And behold, the heavens were open, and a messenger of the Most High Yah came to me and said, Levi, enter. And I entered from the first heaven and saw a great sea hanging there. And further, I saw a second heaven, brighter and more brilliant, for there was boundless light also therein. And then I said to the messenger, why is this so? And the messenger said to me, do not marvel at this level of heaven, for you will see another heaven even more brilliant, even more incomparable. And when you have ascended there, you will stand near the Most High Yah, and you will be his minister, and will declare his mysteries to men. Levi was given this. Why? What did Levi pray? Levi said, when trauma came about and he saw the wicked people, he said, please save me, because I don't want to be like them. And if you ever go through the book and read it, you will see every time people was doing wicked ass shit, Levi had nothing to do with it. Do y'all know in Egypt that Levi was not in bondage? And they kept telling the other people, don't listen to dumb people. Levi was not in bondage in Egypt. Go into the Babylonian captivity. Levi was not in bondage. Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego. Levi. When it came down to the end, when Judah started tripping, who went to warring with the king of Judah? The Zodok king of the Levites. They stood 10 toes down for the law. Then he says here, therefore, the heavens which have been shown to you, the lowest, is for the reason it's gloomy to you. Why? Because the wicked people are on our earth. He said it's a heaven. And the unrighteous deeds of men. Why? Because of the unrighteous deeds of men. Why is this one gloomy? Why is this heaven right here gloomy? Because of the unrighteous deeds of men. It has fire, snow, ice made for the day of judgment. And in the righteous judgment of the Most High Yah, in it are the spirits of retribution and for vengeance on men. And in the second are the hosts of the armies, which are ordained for the day of judgment. Ooh, the Most High Yah got in the second heaven, in the second, you know, the one right by us, the one right by us. It's a war. They waiting right there. They waiting right there to come down and bang, bang, bang this place. And I'll be glad when it happens. Because I'm sick of the unrighteous deeds of men. I'm sick of it. They're going to work vengeance of the spirit of deceit and the demon Baal. There's a spirit of deceit on earth, and Baal is on earth. He said, I'm coming, I'm going to send them down here, and they're going to work. They're going to put some work in on them. Then it says here, and in the highest of the dwelling of the great glory, he's the glory of all glory, hallelujah, far above all holiness. He's the holiest of holiness, hallelujah. In the heaven next to it are the chief messengers who minister and make propitiations to the Most High Yah for all sins of ignorance of what? The righteous, offering sweet smelling savors to the Most High Yah, a reasonable and bloodless offerings. He does reasonable and bloodless. Bloodless. Levi, this is why they didn't want you to read Levi, because Levi says bloodless. What part of bloodless do you not get? And in the one in the heaven below this are the messengers who bear answers to the messengers of the presence of the Most High God. I told you he cannot be around wickedness. He cannot be around evil. Who represents himself. But when he come down here, he says in Malachi, who will survive? Because if you got anything wicked in your heart, you will be put down. That's why you need to go and do like it says in Psalms 19. Ask the Most High Yah to give you a clean heart, clean you out. In Psalms 19, he says, please do not let my sins on me. In Psalms 51, he says, give to me a clean heart. Psalms 19, the Most High Yah, David tells the Most High Yah to please make me acceptable to you. You need to ask him for that. Because the Most High says, if you got a twang of idolatry in your heart, if you got a twang of anything outside of the law, if you are left to the law or right to the law, you will be destroyed. You need to ask him to help you clean yourself out. This is about self on this. Who do you choose? Do you choose the book of life or do you choose the book of death? The Christian or I? It's your choice. That's why I love Abba, because he lets us choose. So for them talking about, oh, he's a slave master. How is he a slave master and he letting you choose? And he laid it all out there in front of you. Deuteronomy 30 says he laid it all out there in front of you. You didn't hide nothing. Choose you today. Who you serve. In Daniel says that Michael was fighting. He was the prince. In Daniel chapter 11, in verse 20. He says, the angel told him that Michael was fighting against who? The heavenly prince of Persia, the prince of Greece, and who else? The prince of Babylon. Now, why would Michael need to fight a human? Now, who is Michael here to protect? Go over to Daniel 12. Who is Michael fighting for? Why is Michael fighting Prince of Persia, Prince of Greece, and the king of Babylon? All the time. Why? At the time, Michael stands, the great heavenly prince, who stands in support of the members of the Israelites. Michael, the same one that Levi was told that was sent to protect us. Because if he didn't protect us, the nation of Israel would be utterly smitten for every evil spirit attacks Israel. Then you go over here to Daniel. And Daniel says Michael is fighting the king of Persia, the prince of Persia, the prince of Greece, and the king of Babylon. And who is he protecting? He's protecting the members of the children of Israel. We thank the Most High for what he's doing for us, for what he did. He sent Michael, the great heavenly prince, who stands in support of the members of Israel. He's fighting day in and day out for you, and you won't keep your part. You won't do your part by following the laws. You need to be following these laws and following these, because because the Most High Yah set Michael up in this place, you still alive. Because he told Levi that when Levi was 20 years old, that if he did not put Michael in the place, our ass would have been grass long time ago. They would have killed us off, and we ain't dead. Why? Because the Most High God kept his promise to Jacob. If you knew what I know, if you know what I know, you're going to walk different. You're going to talk different. You're going to pray different. But that's your choice. Choose this day life. Choose this day death. And all I got to say is all praise to the Most High God. Hallelujah. He is the only living God. He's the first, the middle, and the last. He's the olive, the meme, and the top. And I'm going to go under him with all I do. I'm going to follow his laws, his statutes, and commandments. I don't know about you, but this house right here, I serve. Yeah. And him alone. All praise to him. And then we're going to holler, woo! Hallelujah.